Muy buenos días a cada uno de ustedes en esta mañana.
Good morning to each of you this morning.
Hace algún tiempo,
Well, some time ago,
nuestro presidente, el pastor Trevor Baker,
our president, Pastor Trevor Baker,
me encontró en las escaleras del edificio de nuestras oficinas.
met me in the stairs of our office building.
Me dijo, quisiera que tú tengas el devocional en la reunión de los obreros.
And he said to me, I'd like you to have the devotional talk for our workers.
No me dio tiempo para pensar.
He gave me no time to think about it.
Dije, yes.
And I said, sí.
Después,
Afterwards,
cuando subí a mi oficina,
I went up to my office
me pregunté a mí mismo,
and I asked myself,
¿qué es lo que hice?
what did I do?
¿Qué acepté?
I accepted.
Pero entonces me puse a pensar y a reflexionar.
And then I sat to think about it.
Y en mi pensamiento me fui 30 años hacia atrás.
And in my thinking, I went back 30 years.
Estaba en los primeros años de mi ministerio.
I was in the early years of my ministry.
Y en una reunión de obreros como esta,
And in a workers' meeting such as this one,
donde estaba la administración de la Unión,
where the union administration was
la
attending,
administración de la conferencia,
the conference administration,
todos los departamentales,
all the departamental directors,
personal de la oficina,
the office personnel,
todos los profesores,
all the teachers,
todos los colportores,
all the call porters,
el presidente de aquella conferencia,
the president of that conference,
había tenido la feliz idea de invitar a un primer anciano de iglesia
had an inspired thought of inviting a local church elder
para tener el devocional para todos los pastores.
to have the devotional for all the pastors.
Y aquel anciano comenzó contando su experiencia.
And that elder began by telling his story.
Cuando el presidente me llamó para invitarme para tener el devocional,
And when the president called me to invite me to have the devotional talk,
me sentí feliz,
I was happy.
acepté.
I accepted.
Mi problema fue después.
My problem was afterwards.
Me puse a pensar,
I began to think,
tengo que predicar para los predicadores,
I have to preach to preachers.
tengo que hablar para los pastores.
I have to speak for the pastors.
¿Qué les voy a decir a los pastores?
What shall I tell them?
¿Qué mensaje les voy a dar?
What message shall I give them?
Se supone que ellos conocen de todo.
It's known that they know everything already.
No puedo hablarles de doctrina, ellos conocen la
I
doctrina.
can't talk to them about doctrine, they know doctrine already.
No puedo hablarles de profecías, ellos saben mucho de profecías.
I can't talk to them about prophecy, they know
No
much
le puedo
about
hablar
prophecy.
del milenio, no le puedo hablar de
I
nada.
can't talk to them about the millennium, I can't talk about anything.
No tengo que decirles.
I have nothing to say to them.
Dijo aquel primer anciano,
But that first elder had said,
creo que voy a llamar al presidente y decirle, sáqueme de la lista.
and I'm going to call the president and ask him to let me off the hook.
Pero luego sentía la impresión, pero ¿será que el Señor quiere decir algo para los pastores?
But then I thought, is it possible that the Lord has something he wants to say to the pastors?
¿Será que el Señor me quiere usar para decirle algo a los pastores aquí?
Is it that the Lord wants to use me to bring a message to the pastors here?
Entonces no llamé al presidente
And so I did not call the president to
y
come.
comencé a preparar mi tema.
And I began to prepare my theme.
Y aquí estoy delante de ustedes,
And
dijo
I
aquel
am here
anciano.
before you, like that elder.
Y aquí traigo un mensaje para ustedes.
And here I bring a message for you.
Y él dijo,
And he said,
el título del mensaje para ustedes
the title of the message for you
es
is
Los pastores también se pueden salvar.
Pastors Also Can Be Saved.
El mismo título nos sacudió.
That title shook us up.
¿Cómo? No, yo soy pastor y no estoy seguro que me va a salvar.
What? I'm a pastor and I'm not sure that I'm saved?
No es la salvación para mí.
Is salvation not for me?
No estoy ocupado en estas cosas.
Am I not busy in these things?
Y alguien viene a decirme que también yo me puedo salvar.
and somebody's going to come tell me that I can also be saved.
Solo el título
The title by itself
creó una expectación en el ambiente.
created anticipation in the environment.
Y creo que todos fuimos sacudidos por el título apenas.
And we were all shaken by the title.
Y aquel mensaje de aquel día
And the message of that day
es el mensaje que me ha sostenido a través de todos los años del ministerio.
is the message that has sustained me throughout the years of my ministry.
Nunca pude olvidar ese mensaje.
I was never able to forget that message.
Cuando nuestro presidente me invitó,
And when our president invited me,
yo dije voy a compartir ese mensaje.
I said I'm going to share that message.
Solo que ahora ya ampliado por los años de trabajo y de experiencia.
Only now it's amplified by my years of experience.
Y por eso estamos aquí en esta mañana.
And for this reason we are here this morning.
Permítame orar.
Let's pray.
Padre,
Father,
eres un Dios grande y misericordioso.
you are a loving and merciful God.
Solo por tu misericordia somos lo que somos.
It is only by your mercy that we are what we are.
Y aquí estamos tus hijos, tus siervos,
And here we are as your sons and servants,
haciendo el trabajo que has puesto en nuestras vidas.
achieving the work which you have put in our lives.
Tú nos has llamado para este trabajo.
You have called us to this work.
Tú nos fortaleces.
You strengthen us.
Tú nos capacitas.
You enable us.
Y trabajamos con salvación.
And we work now with salvation.
Trabajamos con perdón.
We work with your
Trabajamos
forgiveness.
con las almas.
We work with souls.
Que esto también sea una experiencia para nuestras propias vidas.
May this also be an experience for our own
En
lives.
el nombre de Jesús oramos.
In Jesus' name we pray.
Aquel anciano comenzó su meditación diciendo,
That elder started his meditation saying,
cuando yo era niño,
when I was a child,
vivía cerca a una fábrica de dulces, de caramelos, de chocolates.
I lived near a candy factory, a chocolate factory.
Y a aquel niño no le gustan los dulces.
And that child did not like candy.
Muchas veces quería comer chocolates,
Many times he wanted to eat chocolates.
quería caramelos,
He wanted caramels.
pero mis padres me decían no,
But my parents said, no,
te hace daño al estómago,
it's going to hurt your stomach.
te hace daño a los dientes,
It can damage your teeth.
no debes comer
You
caramelos.
should not eat candy.
Y crecí con unas ganas de comer dulces y caramelos.
And I grew up with a desire and yearning to eat candy.
Y pensaba para mí mismo,
And I thought for myself,
algún día voy a crecer.
one day I'm going to grow up.
Cuando tenga mi edad,
And when I'm old enough,
Yes,
me voy a ir a aquella fábrica.
I'm going to go to that factory.
Voy a poner una aplicación en aquella
I'm going
fábrica.
to put up an application. to
Voy a
work there.
trabajar allí
I'm going to work there.
y voy a comer todos los caramelos que yo
And
quiera.
I'm going to eat as much candy as I want.
yes, Lord.
Dice, el tiempo pasó,
And he says, time went by.
yo crecí
I grew up.
y un día me encontré en las oficinas de aquella compañía.
And one day I found myself in the office of that company.
Llené la aplicación,
I filled out the application.
me entrevistaron
They interviewed me.
y me dijeron,
And they said to me,
aceptado.
you're accepted, you're hired.
El lunes empieza tu trabajo.
On Monday, you start working here.
El horario es de 7 a 3:30 de la tarde.
The work schedule is from 7 a.m. to 3 in the afternoon.
Debes estar 15 minutos antes de las 7
And you must be here 15 minutes before 7
para que te expliquen tu trabajo.
so that they can explain your work to you.
Dice, fue el día más alegre para mí.
He said it was the happiest day of my life.
Regresé para casa.
I returned home.
Estaba bien emocionado para el próximo lunes.
I was very emotional for next Monday.
El lunes empiezo mi trabajo.
On Monday, I shall start my work.
Al fin voy a poder estar cerca de los caramelos.
And finally, I'm going to be near the candy.
Al fin voy a tocar los
I'm
chocolates.
going to be able to touch
Al
the
fin voy a
chocolate.
venir a las 3:30 con un chocolate en el
And at
bolsillo.
3:30, I'm leaving work with a chocolate in my pocket.
Esta es la vida que yo quería.
This is the life that I
Con
wanted.
esto he soñado y esperado todos estos
This is what I
años.
have dreamed and aspired to for so many years.
Así que dice el lunes por la mañana.
And so he said, Monday morning,
Yo estuve 6:30.
I was there at 6:30.
Un cuarto para las 7.
And just before 7,
Apareció un señor,
came a gentleman.
llamó mi nombre.
He called my name.
Le dije, yo soy.
I said, it's me.
Sígame.
He said, follow me.
Antes de que trabajes,
Before you start,
te voy a hacer un tour en la compañía.
I'm going to give you a tour of the company.
Y me llevó.
And he took me.
Ahí estaban los caramelos.
And there were the candies.
Había caramelos verdes,
There were green candies,
rosados,
pink,
amarillos,
yellow,
de todos los
all
colores,
colors,
todas las formas.
all shapes.
Por allá estaban los chocolates.
Over there were the chocolates.
Qué olor, qué aroma en el ambiente.
What odor.
Dije, oh, esto es lo que yo quería.
He said, this is what I wanted.
Y cuando hice un tour por toda la compañía,
And when I took a tour across the whole entire
me
company,
llevó al medio de la planta. al
he
medio
took
del
me to the
edificio.
middle of the plant.
Me dijo, mi amigo,
He said, my friend,
este es tu primer día de trabajo.
this is your first day of work.
Hoy estás a prueba.
You're going to be tested today.
Si no pasas la prueba hoy,
If you don't pass inspection today,
pierdes el trabajo.
you'll lose your job.
Dijo, no, me voy a hacer lo que sea.
I said, no, I'm going to do
quiero el
whatever
trabajo.
it takes. I want the job.
Muy bien.
Very well.
Mi amigo,
My friends,
tu trabajo en este primer día
your job on this first day
es fácil.
is easy.
Solo tienes que pasar comiendo dulce y caramelo todo el día.
The only thing you have to do is eat candy the whole day.
Puedes comer de los caramelos que tú quieras.
You can eat any candy you want.
Puedes ir por donde tú quieras.
You can go anywhere that you want.
Pero cuando yo estoy por aquí,
But when I'm here,
cuando los supervisores pasan,
when the supervisors go by,
el manager está por aquí,
when the manager comes by,
el dueño pasa,
the owner comes by,
tú tienes que estar con caramelos en la boca comiendo.
you have to have candy in your mouth. Chew
Si
it.
alguien te descubre sin ningún caramelo,
If somebody catches you without candy in
si
your mouth
no estás comiendo nada,
and you're not eating anything,
tienes el trabajo.
you lose your job.
Entonces, dice él, yo dije,
And so he said, I said,
"Sí, comer caramelos, sí, eso es lo que quería hace tiempo.
eating candy, that's what I wanted all my life.
Y comencé,
I started
1,
1,
2,
2,
tan buenos,
they're good.
3,
3,
4,
4,
5.
5.
Dice,
And
ya no quiero caramelos.
I said, I don't want any more.
Pero voy a perder el trabajo, tengo que seguir comiendo.
But I'm going to lose the job, so I got to keep eating.
Llegó a las 9:30 el break de la mañana
It was a 9:30 break.
y se fui al baño.
And he said, I went to the bathroom.
Vomité,
I threw up.
regresé a comer caramelo.
I went back and started eating candy again.
La hora de lunch,
For lunchtime,
tenía mi sándwich ahí.
I had my
No
sandwich.
quería nada.
I didn't want anything.
Me fui al baño
I went to the bathroom.
y tengo que aguantar a las 3:30
And I said, I have to hold on till
y a
3:30
comer caramelo.
and eat more candy.
Llegó 3:30.
It came to 3:30.
Marqué la tarjeta para irme.
I punched my time card to leave.
¿Saben cuántos caramelos llevé a casa?
Do you know how much candy I took home? Not even one.
Dice,
He said,
nunca más quise comer caramelo.
I never wanted to eat another candy.
Y entonces sí, él hizo la aplicación para los pastores.
And so he made the application or applied this to the pastors.
Dijo, pastores,
He said, pastors,
maestros, consultores,
teachers, literature evangelists,
presidentes de la organización,
Presidents,
secretarios, tesoreros,
secretary,
departamentales.
departmentals.
Yo tengo mucho temor por ustedes.
I am very afraid for you.
Por lo general,
In general,
el panadero no come pan.
the baker does not eat bread.
El que trabaja en helados no come helados.
The ice cream maker does not eat ice cream.
Los que trabajan en galletas, ¿no? Los que trabajan haciendo galletas o cualquier otro dulces,
The cookie makers and candy makers don't eat their products.
no comen. Y yo sé que ustedes
And I know that
ustedes trabajan con salvación.
you work with salvation.
Y tengo que están tan ocupados
And you are so
en
occupied
la salvación de los demás
in the salvation of others
que no coman para ustedes mismos.
that you don't take for yourself. I said, pastors,
Pastores,
pastors,
ustedes están orando por todo el mundo.
you are praying for everyone else.
Los jóvenes dicen, oren por mi pastor.
And the young people say, pray for us,
Las
pastor.
hermanas a la salida dicen, ore por mi familia,
The
pastor.
sisters, as they leave the church, say, pastor, pray for me.
Ore por mis hijos.
Pray for my children.
Ore por mí. Vaya a orar aquí.
Or pray over here, pray over there.
Ustedes tienen el pretexto perfecto.
You have a perfect pretext
para no hacer nada por ustedes.
to do nothing for yourself.
Pueden estar orando por todo el mundo
You can pray for everyone else,
y no se arrodillan por ustedes mismos.
and you don't kneel down and pray for
Pueden
yourself.
estar orando por todas las familias de la iglesia
You can be praying for all the families in the church,
y no por la familia de ustedes.
and not for your own family.
Pueden estar orando por todos los hijos de las familias,
You can pray for all the children in the
pero
family,
no hay una oración por los hijos de
but
ustedes.
not one prayer for your own children.
Ustedes trabajan con salvación,
You work with
ustedes trabajan
salvation.
con perdón,
You work with
ustedes
forgiveness.
trabajan con la Biblia.
You work with the Bible.
Temo que ustedes dediquen tantas horas para preparar un sermón,
You dedicate so many hours to preparation of sermons,
para alimentar a la iglesia.
to feed the church.
Gastan horas estudiando la Biblia para alimentar a otros.
You spend hours studying the Bible to feed others.
Y temo que ustedes no se estén alimentando de la palabra de
And I'm
Dios.
afraid that you may not be nourishing yourselves with the Word of God.
Tengo grande preocupación por ustedes los pastores.
I have a great
Mencionó
worry
aquel
and
hermano.
concern for you, pastors.
Y esa es mi preocupación.
And that too is my worry.
Por eso dijo aquel en esta mañana, yo quiero decirle, pastores,
And for this reason, this morning, I want to say to the pastors,
administradores,
to the administrators,
departamentales, personal de oficina,
office staff,
la salvación también es para ustedes.
salvation is also yours.
¿Por qué hago lo que hago?
Why do I do what I do?
Nuestro ministerio.
Our ministry.
Nuestro ministerio es por mandato de Dios.
Our ministry is by command of God.
El Señor nos ha llamado.
God has called
Y
us.
aquel que nos llama nos capacita
And He who has
y
called us
nos
enables us
fortalece.
and strengthens
El
us.
Señor nos conoce bien.
The Lord knows us well.
Él no se ha equivocado al llamarnos.
He has not fooled Himself. He is not mistaken in calling us.
Debemos tener seguridad de que nuestro llamamiento proviene del Señor.
We must have certainty that our call comes from the Lord.
Él nos ha colocado en el ministerio.
He put us in ministry,
No por nuestros talentos,
not by our talent,
no por ser dignos,
not because we are worthy,
no porque somos mejores,
not because we're better,
no porque tenemos vocación para esto,
not because we have vocation for this,
no porque un comité ejecutivo nos seleccionó.
not because an executive committee selected us.
Estamos en lo que estamos
We are in what we are,
y somos lo que somos
and we are what we are,
y somos pastores
and we are pastors
por la misericordia de Dios.
by the mercy of God.
Estamos en el ministerio por ese acto maravilloso del amor de Dios.
We are here in ministry because of this loving act, a merciful act of God.
Y nuestra misión, nuestro trabajo es salvar almas, salvar pecadores.
Our goal and our mission is to save souls, to save sinners.
Nuestro mensaje es que Cristo vino al mundo a salvar a los
And our
pecadores.
message is that Christ came into the world to save the lost.
Nuestro mensaje es impartir esperanza.
Our message is to give hope.
Tenemos un mensaje de reconciliación,
We have a message of
un
reconciliation,
mensaje de paz,
a message of peace,
no de condenación.
not of condemnation.
Pero primero nosotros tenemos que haber experimentado.
But first, we must have experimented.
Nuestro mensaje no debe ser sencillamente una doctrina.
Our message must not be simply a doctrine.
Nuestro mensaje debe ser una experiencia.
Our message must be an experience.
Soy pastor porque Él me eligió.
I am a pastor because He chose me.
Soy pastor porque Él me llamó.
I am a pastor because He called me.
Como pastores
As pastors,
necesitamos tener un concepto claro de nuestro ministerio.
we must have a clear conception of our own ministry.
La labor que realizamos no es una labor común.
The work which we do is not common work.
Hemos sido seleccionados para una tarea especial.
We have been chosen for a special task.
Soy lo que soy,
I am what I am,
no porque es mi profesión.
not because it is my profession.
Soy lo que soy,
I am what I am,
no porque esta es mi vocación.
not because this is my vocation.
Soy lo que soy,
I am what I am,
no porque estudié 5 años en el seminario.
because I studied 5 years in seminary.
Soy lo que soy,
I am what I am,
no por las maestrías que tengo.
not by the master's degrees that I have.
Soy lo que soy, no porque tengo un doctorado.
I am what I am, not because I have a doctorate.
Soy lo que soy por la voluntad de Dios.
I am what I am because of God's will.
Porque Él me eligió
He selected me
para un trabajo especial.
for a special work,
Para trabajar por la iglesia del Señor.
to work for the church of
Para
God,
trabajar por las almas del Señor.
to work for the souls of the Lord.
Pero para entrar en la salvación, yo también junto con mi rebaño.
But I must also enter into salvation along with my flock.
Por eso la salvación es para los pastores también.
This is why salvation is also for the pastors.
Quiero leer algunos pasajes del apóstol San Pablo.
I want to read some passages from the Apostle Paul.
En primera de Timoteo, el capítulo 4,
And 1 Timothy chapter 4,
versículos 14, 15 y 16.
verses 14 through 16.
Hablando de los pastores.
Speaking of the pastors,
No descuides el don que hay en ti.
don't let anyone look down on you because
No descuides el don que hay en ti, que te fue dado mediante profecía por la imposición de las manos del ministerio.
verse 14, do not neglect your gift, which was given you through a prophetic message.
Ocúpate en estas cosas, permanece en ellas, para que tu aprovechamiento sea manifiesto a todos.
Be diligent in these matters. Give yourself wholly to them so that everyone may see your progress.
Pero mire lo que dice el versículo 16.
But see what verse 16 says.
Ten cuidado de ti mismo y de la doctrina, persiste en ello, pues haciendo esto te salvarás a ti mismo y a los que te oyeron.
Watch your life and doctrine closely. Persevere in them, because if you do, you will save both yourself and your hearers.
La salvación es para nosotros también.
Salvation is also for us.
Un día encontré a una hermana en una de las iglesias en Buenos Aires, Argentina.
One day I was in Buenos Aires, Argentina, and I met a sister from the church.
Después de la predicación el sábado,
And after the Sabbath sermon,
quería hablar con el pastor
she wanted to speak with the pastor.
y me dijo, pastor, yo quiero hablar con usted.
And she said to me, Pastor, I want to talk to you.
Y fuimos hacia un salón aparte de la iglesia.
And we went to a room off to the side of the church.
Y esta hermana, con muchas lágrimas en los ojos,
And with a lot of tears in her eyes,
me dijo,
she said to me,
pastor, tengo 3 hijos.
I have 3 sons.
Uno es pastor,
One is a pastor.
los otros 2 no quieren oír nada de la iglesia.
The other 2 want nothing to do with the church.
Toda mi vida me he pasado orando por estos 2 hijos que no quieren venir a la
And
iglesia.
I spent my whole life praying for these 2 sons that no longer want to come to church.
Tengo varios años orando por ellos.
I've been praying for many years for them.
El Señor todavía no me ha contestado mi oración.
And the Lord has yet to answer my prayer.
Pero la semana pasada,
But last week,
la organización sacó del ministerio a mi hijo, el único pastor.
the denomination took my son out of ministry.
Pastor, todos estos años oré por los que no estaban en la iglesia,
She said, Pastor, all these years I prayed for those who were not in the church,
pero no lo hice por el que era pastor.
but I didn't pray for the one who was a pastor.
Creía que con la imposición de manos estaba seguro.
I thought that with the laying on of hands, he was safe.
Creía que porque era pastor estaba seguro.
I thought that because he was a pastor already, he was safe.
Me sentía orgullosa del hijo pastor.
I was proud of my pastor son,
Y olvidé de orar por él.
and I forgot to pray for him.
Ahora no es más pastor.
Now he's no longer a minister.
Pastores,
Pastors,
el haber recibido la imposición de manos no nos da garantía de ser salvos.
having received the laying on of hands does not guarantee us of receiving salvation.
El tiempo de servicio en la iglesia no nos da garantía de alcanzar la salvación.
The amount of years of service that we have in the church doesn't guarantee us of salvation.
El ocupar una responsabilidad en la iglesia no nos da garantía de ser salvos.
Having occupied an office in the church does not guarantee us that we are saved.
Un título administrativo no nos garantiza llegar a la salvación.
An administrative title does not guarantee us to get salvation.
Nuestra salvación está en las manos de Jesús.
Our salvation is in the hands of Jesus.
Y en la entrega diaria que como ministros hagamos de nuestras vidas a Él.
And the daily surrender that we give Him as ministers.
En la dedicación de cada día que estemos en los brazos del Señor.
And then the dedication of every day that we are in the arms of the Lord.
Nuestra seguridad está permanecer tomado de la mano de Dios cada
Our
día.
security, our salvation comes from holding the hand of God.
Debemos caminar tomados de la mano del Señor.
We must walk holding God's hands.
Debemos ser hombres de oración.
We must be men of prayer,
Hombres de estudio de la palabra de Dios.
men who study the Word of God.
Debemos responder al llamado de Dios.
We must answer the call of God.
El Señor nos ha llamado,
God has called
nos ha
us.
seleccionado.
He has selected us.
Solo tenemos valor en las manos de Él.
We only have a value in His hands.
Y solo podemos alcanzar la victoria tomados de la mano del Señor.
And we can only get our victory by holding the Lord's hands.
Esta mañana yo quiero decir para ustedes,
And this morning I want to say to you,
necesitamos reevaluar nuestro ministerio.
we need to reevaluate our ministry.
Necesitamos mirar hacia nuestro ministerio.
We need to look at our ministry.
Necesitamos examinar nuestras propias vidas.
We must examine our own lives.
Necesitamos poner en el altar del Señor nuestras propias vidas cada día.
And we need to deposit in the altar of God our lives every day.
Para que la salvación sea nuestra
So that salvation can be ours.
y la salvación sea para el rebaño al cual hemos sido llamados.
And so that the salvation can also be for the flock to which we've been called.
Que Dios bendiga nuestro ministerio.
May the Lord bless our ministry.
Somos lo que somos.
We are what we are
Por la gracia de Dios.
by the mercy of the Lord,
Por la misericordia de Dios.
for His mercy.
Vamos a
Let us stand and pray.
Querido Dios
Heavenly Father,
y maravilloso Padre que estás en el cielo.
wonderful Father in heaven,
Aquí estamos en esta mañana delante de ti,
we are here before you this morning,
hombres y mujeres
men and women,
que has llamado para representarte aquí en esta tierra.
that you have called to represent you on
Has
this
puesto
earth.
en nuestras manos una gran responsabilidad,
You have placed in our hands a great responsibility,
no solamente el cuidado del rebaño,
not only the care of the flock,
sino el cuidado de nuestras familias
but also the care of our
y
families
el cuidado de nuestras propias
and
vidas.
the care of our own lives.
Cuando llegue el día cuando tú regreses,
When the day when you return arrives,
el tiempo no sea más,
and time shall be no more,
veamos ver tu rostro,
we hope to see your countenance.
podamos estar preparados para eterna salvación.
May we be ready for eternal salvation.
Oramos en el nombre de Jesús.
We pray in the name of Jesus.
Amén.
Amen.
Vote to see whether or not we need to take a break. All in favor of taking a break, let me see your hands. All that says move on, let me see your hands. It looks like a tie. We're gonna have to use a super delegate. The baker, you're the super. The super delegate says move on. So we're gonna move on. We're going to call on Dr. Muller to come before us. He is going to be leaving today, but there's some additional information that we want him to share with us, and so we're going to bring him on, and then following him, we're going to have the departments to come. Is that all right?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, brother.
Look at her on here. Yeah, she won't.
Test the.
I don't have it on. I can't test it yet. I need to get it on start. Okay. Program. It's slow, yeah. It's a little slow. Once it gets there, it's good. What's it doing? Oh, yeah, we're doing it. No, when he does so. Right out this way. All right, go on and do it. Do it now. Let them know.
Brethren, while we're warming up, we're going to give you those handouts that we promised.
I'll give you mine. I'll come for it.
So slow.
You're welcome.
It's all this stuff up to the top. I don't like what I see here. I like where this stuff looks. Okay. All right, brethren, if you have any questions from yesterday on anything that you slept on last night, go ahead. I think it had to do with meta communication.
No,
I thought I saw a focus question. Somebody had a question last night.
Yeah, when we sat to eat last time, there was a question that came on at the table and you promised to answer over here. We were wondering why is it that Baptists will be generous
Oh, yeah.
with
To their ministers.
to their ministers in the Baptist setting,
Right.
but the same Baptists are warned into the Adventist church, and generosity seem to cease.
Right.
What's going on? Why is it that the Baptists are almost more generous to their ministers than the Adventists are to their ministers?
That's a good point. The question is, people who join the Adventist church are very kind when they're Baptists, when they used to be Baptists, Methodists, or whatever, particularly Baptists. They're very kind to their ministers, like anniversaries, they pay them well. They're very respectful. In fact, the longer they stay, the more powerful they become and more respect they gain. Yet those same people become Seventh-day Adventists. And they are not too generous and not too kind.
That's right.
The longer you stay, the more they want you to go after a while. Well, the problem is systemic. Systemic in the sense that people need one system of doing things, the way to do things, and they leave and come into another system with different expectations. And so they fall in line with all of the other Adventists who've been there a while because they want acceptance, they want to fit in. Therefore, they modify their way of worship, they modify their vocabulary, we have a certain vocabulary, and they just adjust. They even talk about when we were in the Baptist church, we did that, this, that, and the other, but now we're over here, we don't do that anymore. Not only is systemic in the pews, but you notice that the conferences, not this one of course, are not too kind to a pastor. For example, you're paying your own taxes and stuff like that. Your money, your qualifications are extremely high, but the pay is so-so. And perhaps that's the way it should be, because if you're in for the money, you're in for the wrong reason anyway. So the whole system is just different from top to bottom. And when people join it, they fit in. They adapt, they fit in. There's no magic to it. That's it. Now, if we begin to change the system and say we need to pay our pastors more, we need to have an anniversary every year and give him some tax-free money, we need to send him on 2 vacations. If somebody, we start that, it doesn't have to come from the conference. If we start there, church by church, then it will change gradually, but it will be very difficult to change. Make sense?
Makes sense.
Yeah, just the system we're in. A very thankless type system. Amen, you brought me here, I'm telling you the truth. It's a thankless ministry. And it makes it very difficult for, if you let it get to you, it could be difficult. But if you know the Lord has put you there, then you take whatever He gives you. And God has a way of taking care of His own. Trust me on that. I know. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What if you find yourself in a church? You talked yesterday about your leadership style. You find yourself in a church, and your style does not jive with the kind of style that perhaps would be effective in that environment.
Right.
You know, like for instance, you might have some churches that are accustomed to a strong arm kind of leadership, and that's what they've adapted themselves to, and you become a little more diplomatic and so on, and there's no response. You know, how do you, I mean, your style very much reflects your personality.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes it's hard to change. So how do you function in a context like that?
Well, you also, if you were listening carefully, I see you have to know your style. Your style is from the way you were reared and so on and so on. I also mentioned 5 styles, and you have to adapt to the style to fit the situation, whatever the situation is. And if in fact you're in a situation where people, your specific example, are used to strong arm and whatever tactics, then you have to re-educate them. You might have to re-educate the people. There's such a thing in social work they call community education. And you'd be surprised how if you educate people along how we should treat each other and so on, people can change. And once that has happened, you adapt to whatever situations as they come up. You adapt your style. You cannot ever be entrenched. And like I said yesterday, no one style is right per se. You just have to adapt to the situation and figure out what's best for you. You look at the stuff in that material, just kind of look at it and study yourself, and you'll be able to change, even make some changes within yourself. And as you do that, you'll be better prepared to serve the church. Any more questions, brother?
Yes, question.
Yes, sir.
Yesterday you mentioned that there are some specific models to use for managing the church board.
Do I get that? And there's two others I'm going to make sure we put in here. I was sort of in a hurry. I didn't get a chance to throw those in. We certainly will, brother. We'll take care of you, man. Whatever you think you need. While I'm standing up here, I also do a lot of workshops on African American boys. I preach on youth, African Americans, most black family. My wife and I do that kind of thing. And I run crusades every summer. I'll be going to Fort Worth, Texas with Helvins Thompson this summer for 4 weeks. My sermons are all family life topics, and I throw in the doctrine. I just got tired of that Cleveland model. I couldn't do it anymore. I just couldn't do that anymore. And I've developed some stuff that has to do with the family, particularly African American, and then I throw in the doctrines tied in. I preach stuff like how to get disobedient children to obey, talk about child rearing and so on, child rearing. And then I say, just as God is disappointed when we don't obey Him, parents are disappointed when we don't, our children don't obey us. God is disappointed. We talk about the law.
Yeah.
So I just thought I'd throw that out, brother.
It's good.
I do a lot of weekend revivals, we call it. Friday night, Saturday morning, Saturday night. And sometimes we tie in Sunday morning. Just thought I'd throw that out. And let you know I love to preach. Cannot resist the temptation to do that.
All right.
All right?
Amen.
Any more? We want to clear this stuff up. Any more loose ends?
Question.
Yes, sir.
Can you speak to the challenge that sometimes you see in churches where the prevailing belief is that the church is a democracy, so that even if the idea is not a good one for the church, if you can get enough people to vote it, then that's what they want to do, even though it might not be in the best interest, or you have the right clique making that decision, and then they put that view on the rest of the others.
Oh, yeah. Did you hear what he asked? Churches and democracy, sometimes the best ideas do not come forth or are not implemented or not voted on because of power cliques and whatever. They tend to prevail, and here you are stuck with some bad ideas. Well, my answer to that is one of the disadvantages, one of the few disadvantages of a democracy. Live with it. And when it doesn't work out, please, as a pastor, don't say, I told you so. Just go on and drop your head and look pious and say, well, and maybe we can go back and vote again. That's what a democracy does. The democracy gave us George Bush. That's one of the beauties of America. That's the way it goes. A lot of times, your best ideas don't go forward. But there's such a thing as choices and consequences. You let people make their choices and live with the consequences. And please don't say, I told you so. Just go on. Well, you know, God is good. Let's move on. Just go on. That happens. Just happens. People lose money. They don't move forward and voting on buildings you could have had. All kind of things happen that the Lord allows. And that's what the church as a body is all about. Sometimes the best ideas are not there. You have to live with it. Yes, sir.
How can a pastor deal with this conflict? In some churches, there is a trend of independence and anti-conference. This is a conflict for the pastor with the members. What tools you can give me to counteract this?
You mean people are not loyal? They have an independent spirit. They're not loyal to the conference or whatever, sort of like that kind of thing. And you're in it as a pastor who want to do the right thing. So how do you deal with it? Well, that's a tough one there, in the sense that you you're sort of stuck in a situation where you want to do the right thing, and in their minds, they're doing the right thing too. They feel that they're right. And the best thing you can do is just go there, and when you first get there anyway, just let them do whatever they want to do. You know, that 1 year principle, first year, just, go along with them. You don't have to verbalize it. Just be there, preach the word of God or whatever. Then after a while, you might have to want to have some discussions. And during the discussion, you might want to teach about what the conference is. They are the conference. What do you mean, the conference? The conference is not somewhere up there. They are the conference. They are the conference. The churches are the conference. That's what makes us one body, so to speak. So when people understand what the conference is, and you might want to preach stuff on the unity of the church, and how the church is a body, and we belong to that body, and just go from there and let the Lord take it from there. That's all you can do and stuff like that. Just try to hold on and sort of hold what you got, and reach out to try to win more souls. You just had wayward children, and that's what you had there in those kind of churches, like children in your family who are just wayward, and you have to pray them back home. All right, brother? Make sense? Well, the problem's not going to go anywhere because you change pastors. The conflict won't move, trust me, because you got another pastor there. He was there long before you got there, and when you leave, it's still going to be there. Something great about you, somehow you're going to come in there. It's a process. It's a process you have to work through like anything else. It'd be nice if you lay hands on everybody and zap them and everybody's healed and straight. It doesn't work that way. You're dealing with human beings, human behavior. That's all you can do.
All right. Okay.
This is the best time because we're going to talk about what you want to know and hear. So anybody, any other concerns? All right, let me skip this thing over. I had a hard time lighting it up. I'm sorry. Setting it up here for some strange reason. All right, I'm definitely going to give you these guidelines. I'm going to copy that and also the board thing. I don't remember that. I thought I had it in here. Managing, this is what you're talking about, managing board conflict? All right, definitely will have that. All right. All right, I think we left off. I know exactly where we left off. Any other questions while we're standing here? We can talk on expedite styles. Talk people, there we go. And productivity. All right, let's look at the positive. Are you looking at the left side of the screen here? It's the positive, potential positive outcomes of conflict. It can motivate us to try harder to win. It doesn't mean winning and overpowering people. It just means we want to be in a win-win situation, working together to win. It can increase commitment and enhance group loyalty. It can increase clarity about the problem when there's conflict. It can lead to innovative breakthroughs and new approaches. Conflict can clarify underlying problems, facilitate change, can focus attention on basic issues, and lead to solution. It can increase energy level, making visible key values. Involvement in conflict can sharpen our approach to bargaining, influencing, and competing. It can increase energy level, make it the same thing I did. It's over with. All right. Now, how can I change what seems like a win-lose situation to a win-win situation? How can I change it? All right? Reduce tension through humor. You're in a win-lose situation. Don't lose your humor. All right? Let the other people vent. Let them talk. Acknowledge the other's views. Listen actively and make a small concession as a signal of good faith. Make sense? Another thing you can do is increase the accuracy of communication. Listen hard in the middle of conflict. Rephrase the other's comments to make sure you hear them. Mirror the other person's view. In other words, repeat what they said. I understand what you were saying, brother. In other words, you're saying to me, or us, that blah, 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 blah. This is what you want. Am I right? And you always use body language like this. Just bob your head a lot. You'd be surprised. People do. Am I right? Shake that head. They're shaking with you. Yes, we agree. All right? I know you had that in introductory counseling somewhere. All right? Control issues. Search for ways to slice the large issue into smaller pieces. Depersonalize the conflict. Separate the issue from the people. All right. Establish commonality. Since conflict tends to magnify perceived differences and minimize similarities, look for greater common goals. We're in this together. Find a common enemy. Focus on what you have in common. Focus less on your position and more on a clear understanding of the other's needs, and figure out ways to move toward them. That's how you get along with these difficult people, man. Stop me at any time. All right? When you empower others, you can delegate and accomplish more without feeling that you're losing control. I know some of you preachers feel, man, not all of you, a handful, that you're the man. You got to control everything. You can't get cooperation from other people. You're a dictator. It doesn't work that way. All right, any cooperation from others. Acknowledge the importance of other people. The deepest principle in human nature is craving to be appreciated. Did you know that? I want you to tell me, a couple of you, what can your president do to show you that he appreciates you? Not the administration, not necessarily travel. He's always appreciative. He's too appreciative sometimes. Go ahead. All right, Ellen. All right. You got the floor.
Do I have to stay?
No, just open your big mouth. I heard you talk.
The new president. Did you say new president?
No, your president, man. Your administration is the country.
I want to know who you're talking about. You're talking about the president. What did he do to show me?
Yes, kindly. In a very kind way, yes.
Remember these kind words.
Okay.
Hope to see you next year.
Oh, me? Hope to see me next year or him? All right, I got you. Whatever that means. All right, brethren, who else? Just two more. Come on, come on. We here to communicate. Talk, brother. Y'all scared? Well, let me help you out. If I was working for this conference, one thing the administration could do to help me is give me some more money. That's all right. Now you go on, continue on. All right.
There is one.
Yes, sir.
Serious one. Not bad, but in the past, it appeared that we were just paying income taxes on our salary. Now it appears that we're paying income taxes on other things beside our salary. And it would be nice if the administration would take some of the overhead, pay the taxes on those things that are not necessarily our salary, whether it be transportation or some other benefit. It would be nice if the conference would take that responsibility.
It would be nice. Now, I think that some of that stuff is outside of the power of Northeastern Conference, I believe. I don't think Northeastern Conference has anything to do with that. I'm not too sure. That's the government. That's out of there. Plus, I'll be honest with you, I think the General Conference could get a policy to say, look, we're going to do this. They work for us. Eventually, I believe the government's going to step in and make them pay, the conference pay income tax anyway. Pay a part. Because you work for the conference. You're not an independent employee. Eventually, the government's going to step in and straighten all that out. But right now, I don't know. It's, I don't know. That's out of my hand. At least he's heard it, it's registered, and he heard your concern. All right? One more, brother. Yes, my love, my dear.
I would say...
Wait a minute. One person is talking.
Yes.
Everyone, go
I
ahead.
would say spend more time together. I use the word corporate. Spend more time in corporate on serious issues that affect not only the church's salvation but our personal salvation.
All right. What do you name? Be specific about some serious issues that we can discuss.
One of the issues that I believe that I know that the Lord has shown me last year is the fact that the percentage of blacks moving from the lower class to the middle class is increasing, and the church is not equipped really with a system to handle the increase in money. You know, we have tithe, we have offering, we have
you got all that money, you can't handle it, baby? I need to come back here. Go ahead, sister. I'm learning something.
We have a system where people are in trouble, they get a little money here, you know, so. But what I believe the Lord is saying that we need a system to deal with some new issues. There are so many single parents, there are so many single, issues of poverty, you know. We don't have to wait for the General Conference when we send them a mandate. And the thing is, I'm not saying that this is the whole issue of what, I'm just saying that if we as a whole spend longer time in fervent prayer, just like the way in which the Lord showed me that was like after 2 weeks of praying and fasting. I didn't know what it was praying and fasting for, but that was one thing that the Lord showed me.
Yes.
But I couldn't communicate it, and I should not have to, because we all should be in this and when we pray together, it seems as though what the Lord enlightens us on is received by everybody. But I'm sure everybody prays and fasts at their own time. But there is something about corporate prayer and fasting that we all at the same page at the same time. Because we can't receive everything from God at one time. But God shows us, you know. Well, that's my heartfelt.
Okay.
And this was a me hormone, and I didn't know that I was going to have a chance. 4:30 I need to serve the Lord, show me everything.
Yes. Praise the Lord. The president's writing things down. He got that. One more, and we're done. All right, two more. I got to get yours too. Go ahead, brother.
What I'd like to see is a move towards pulling us together as teams. You know, I think that as ministers and so on, you know, it's very gratifying when we are seen as an important part of the whole process. You know, and I'd like to see more situations where we're brought together and you know, the fellowship together, and I think it would show that we are an important part of the overall team if the focus is placed on bringing us together in a unified manner, and it could be just in social context, but more things that are geared towards nourishing us together as comrades and helping us to sense the fact that we are an integral part of the overall team. I think more effort needs to go in that direction.
Okay, team building. I do workshops on that too. There's a hand here. I got to get you in. We're going to move on. Go ahead.
I believe that it is urgent to address systemic problems. And you said that earlier. The administration will show that cares when we sit and analyze the system itself that generates distrust, hatred, fear, anxiety, such as every time there's an election coming, among us, I've been here many years, suddenly people start pulling out, forming little groups. And then there is also that element of I'm from Haiti, so I have a deep fear of presidency for life. Because I went through it with Duvalier.
Yes, I understand that.
And so the White Conference, the New York Conference, they have what they call term limit. So in the sense that after 1 or 2 terms, people know that they'll have a chance. There's an opportunity. So when you find in a system where the eternity is established within the framework of infinity, you find a lot of people just vying for power, wanting to hurt someone who's serving them, because they feel that this person will not remove himself.
Yes.
And so, for example, like we have a death here, our former president passed. Each of us must ask ourselves, how did we behave? How did we deal with him? And why did we do so? How did he do with us? You see, and all those things have to do with an element of too much power, too much time. So I think that the system, we must address the system so that as ministers, we are feeble human beings, receive only separated from death by a single breath. Anything can happen at any time. If we do not create a system where we can live peacefully, respectfully, okay, we will always be backbiting, hurting someone, undermining someone, praying together, but with a knife in our hands. You see, and then eating candy. The system must address it so that we all can be saved in the name of Jesus.
Amen. May I respond to that a little bit? I know the president's writing it down and listening. And we really appreciate your comments.
Amen.
And I certainly agree with most of what you said. But I'm going to reflect on my thoughts on some of the stuff you just said. Term limits has its advantages, but it certainly has disadvantages. I know down in South Central Conference, all the officers must go, including the treasurer. Can you imagine somebody in the middle of something and he's voted out, he has to go, and a new treasurer steps in there and has to deal with that stuff? Can you imagine that? It's a disaster. Now, you mentioned Greater New York, how they have term limits and blah, 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 blah. And we are left here fighting. What has happened is, that's why we were going for talked about black unions some years ago. There's nowhere for a black administrator to go. We're just like slave hands. We produce all the numbers, the baptisms, along with the Hispanics. And yet, when it comes to positions of power in this church, there aren't any positions for us. Very few, very limited. I think Ella Cleveland was talking about small shoes with bunions on our feet. It's nowhere it's hurt. That seems to be the way. And these brothers have voted now that hospital administrators have the same power as presidents, to get that power going. And to be honest with you, as long as you're a person of color in America, these are the kind of issues you're going to have to deal with in and out of the church. That is, like Saul Alinsky once said, people don't give you power, you must take it through the vote or some other way. Now, in Greater New York Conference, I do not understand some of this, and I don't want to understand some of it. Here you are, black and brown bodies with white heads. There's no reason on the heaven why these dark-skinned people have to vote anybody with light skin to be over them. I guess they don't feel right unless they have people over them. Used to be anyway. That's Greater New York, so they have a white man over it?
Yes, they have a white person.
No, Hispanic. Well, I can live with that. I probably live with that. But I know some of them. What you need to do is get Greater New York churches.
The president is
Talk to these people around here and make Trevor Baker your union president.
That's right.
There's nothing to stop you from doing that when he gets ready. When he gets ready. Somebody, when he gets ready. There's nothing to stop you there. The vote is in your hands if you stick together. Now, as far as the other stuff about the system is designed to, squeeze us out, certainly people are going to be backbiting and whatever. There's nowhere to go. Some of these guys have administrative skills. They've done all they can do. They've baptized a lot of people, pastored the largest churches. There's nowhere to go. There aren't enough positions for us. So we've got to, look into that and do something about it. Am I making sense, brother?
Yeah, excuse me?
There's one more comment, and we're going to quit and get back to this.
Greater New York Conference is white. The president of Greater is white.
Oh, the president of Greater New York Conference, the head is white. What about the bodies? How many black? What's the percentage of dark people?
Black and Hispanic.
You know what?
Black and Hispanic.
You know what? I'm from the South. I'm not from here. I don't blame that white man. I'd be the head master over those England Negroes too. If they're gonna vote me in, I'd be the head master too. But you get mad with him. You talk to some of those Negroes over there and tell them to come to Northeastern.
Of the United States.
All right. What I'm saying is, you got some brainwashed black people that allows it to happen.
Amen, brother.
And the last time I talked with them, they want me back, but there was nothing they could say. They couldn't argue with me. I had my facts together. All they could do is drop their heads and look embarrassed. Because I told you, you don't feel right unless you got a white man over you.
It's true.
You don't even feel right.
Come on now.
Oh, have mercy.
Come on now.
I don't blame that man.
Nigga.
I don't blame that overseer, the master. They love it. Let him keep on.
Now you're talking.
That's right.
Brethren, I'm going to leave this alone.
No, we need to hear this.
Because you're not there. No, they need to hear it. Talk to some of them.
So we need to hear it here too.
Talk to some of those ignorant people, man. I got a choice between having a black man like Baker over me and going to a man I know. I know his history.
That's right, that's right.
That has not been kind to me.
That's right.
And by choice, I'm going to choose to be there. Talk to some of your members from the islands who are gravitating over there.
That's right, that's right.
Some of your friends you know.
That's right. That makes sense, you know.
Yes, sir.
Big shit now.
One more question. This is it. We're moving on. But this is good because I'm talking about what you want to hear.
That's right.
I'm not going to let it get out of hand. Wait, go ahead, sir. Get this man the mic. He doesn't have a preaching voice. He hasn't put his preaching voice on yet. Put it on. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. What I'm saying here is just that we have been suffering for a while on this one. We had union session the other day, just about a couple of years ago, if I'm correct. And here we are now, this term, the largest conference
in the union, right?
Paying the largest money, paying everything. But we have no representative at all. We were never voted in one position in that union. Not one position. I really look and see little Greater New York has 3 representatives in that union. And here is Northeastern.
That's right. Something wrong.
Put in all the money.
Something
Put
wrong.
in all the membership. Something is radically
Yes.
wrong
Yes.
No, it's not.
with that.
You know what's wrong? Want me to tell you what's wrong?
Tell them, brother.
What's wrong is you dark-skinned people have not unified. In these dark-skinned conferences and gotten together and said, look, we're going to end this. It's over.
It's not so much on the dark skin, it's the dark skin in this conference. Because
right.
the dark
I'm talking about all of you.
The dark skin in Greater New York.
I'm talking about all of you.
No, I'm saying the dark skin in Greater New York
Right now.
got three representatives in there. The dark skin in this conference got nobody in there. And I don't feel good to know that my hard-earned dollars and cents and time, everything gone there, and I have no say.
Brethren, get together.
That's right.
Unify. Unify. That's where the power is.
That's right.
Work together. Network with your brothers over there in Greater New York and these other conferences. Network, brethren.
Regarding what Elder Harrison just said.
We already talked.
No, just give me 1 second. Please.
1 second.
Yeah, regarding what Elder Harrison just said regarding the union. The Northeastern Conference plotted to overthrow the Haitian Red of the Union in order to get another back.
Your second is off. I appreciate it. Thank you. God bless you. One more comment and I mean it. That's it. One more, Tim. That's it. We're moving on.
Now, I want this to be implemented. So I'm saying it kindly and humbly. Because I want to see that happen.
Thank you for your kindness.
Yeah. When lawyers meet, they talk about policies.
Back up a little bit. Go ahead.
When doctors meet, they talk about cutting-edge technology to deal with their craft, their surgery, and talk about new medicine and new disease and whatever is out there, so they can combat it and be able to be effective in what they do. Whenever any group come together, they deal with their trade and sharpen it so they can be effective.
Right.
I think I have a little problem with this, with when we meet as ministers. I'm expecting us to deal with theology. Some theology, some issues, and how to use theology to address it. Prophecy, theology. I'm coming. So when I come here and I meet ministers who have studied, there are some new ones from Andrews. They just graduated with cutting-edge understanding of theology. Some Hebrew understanding, some Greek understanding, some prophetic understanding. And all these knowledge, wisdom, talent, ideas come together. And then we go back sorrowfully because we could not harness this talent, look at it, and learn from each other, so that where I go wrong in my own local situation, when we bring the issue to the table over here, somebody's going to say something that will correct my understanding. I'm going to say something that's going to correct somebody's understanding. So when we go back there, we are not shooting from all angles and not hitting.
Yes.
Pop is coming to town. My time is up.
Yes.
Pop is coming to town.
Come on.
Yes.
And we are Adventists.
Yes, sir.
We have a prophecy that says when Protestant America shall reach its hand to grasp across the Gulf to grasp the hand of papacy, then they would have formed the image of the beast. Now, I'm not saying I've drawn conclusion. I'm saying that when we discuss, they will understand where we are in the prophetic chat on God's time. And I'm saying, all I'm saying is pleading now, that's a plea.
Yes.
I beg, you talk about what we want administration to do. I beg administration
Just brainstorming. Yeah.
Yeah, to put some theological issue on the agenda. So when we come here, we know there's a block of time that we all going to discuss some serious issue on theology, and we go home rejoicing because we have.
Amen. Hallelujah. Yes, sir. No. That's it. We got to quit here.
Yes, sir. I am here. Please.
All right. You said please, and I gave in. Go ahead.
I am from Southeastern, my home conference. I've been called by Northeastern to work here. And I'm pleased to stay until now.
Amen.
And what I am grateful to the Lord is that I have seen an administration able to move this conference from the pit.
Yeah.
Now we're climbing to the top.
The pit.
Yes.
I have seen leaders facing hardship faithfully. I have seen leaders trying to embrace every people, even those who might be considered as enemy. Try to embrace them.
Yes.
Praise the Lord. Amen.
They should not get discouraged.
That's right.
Yes.
That's good.
So
They have people with them.
Amen.
You can't walk around here like my doctor at the church with your superintendent, Dr. Barnes, pouring out her soul with a beautiful plan. You need to get enthusiastic about that.
yeah.
It's one of the most beautiful plans I've heard in a while. Be enthusiastic about that. Enthusiasm is by far the highest paid quality on earth. Probably because it is one of the rarest, yet it is one of the most contagious. When you're enthusiastic about something, it catches.
Amen.
It catches on.
That's true.
As a leader, when you're enthusiastic, the folk are going to follow you because you're excited about it. Anything you want to do, you can do it if you have a plan, doesn't matter what it is, and you're enthusiastic about it, it'll work. Encourage and facilitate two-way conversation. Education is a kind of continuing dialogue.
Yes.
And a dialogue assumes, in the nature of the case, different points of view.
Yes, sir.
All right, we heard from you this morning, didn't we? Yes, we did. Ask other people's opinions. I have opinions of my own, strong opinions. But I don't always agree with them. That's what the smart guy said. Your smart president. He doesn't agree with his own self. All right, let's get serious. Ask questions instead of giving orders. Never tell people how to do things. How to. Tell them what you want them to achieve, and they will surprise you with their ingenuity. Make sense? Don't you tell people what to do and then turn around and tell them how to do it. They have sense. I was going to take a call to teach at one of our universities. I'm not going to name it. A university, one of our schools that I love. Dear to me. I didn't go. because I didn't want to be told what to do and then how to do it. I don't play that. I'm smart. I got, if I want your advice, I'll ask you for it. So don't do that. Don't do that to people. Show sincere gratitude. God gave you a gift of 8,400 seconds today. Have you used 86,400 seconds today? Have you used one to say thank you? Just thank you. Just one. Give strength-centered compliments. The life of many a person could probably be changed if someone would only make him feel important. All right, resolving. The more we know about human nature, we'll talk about human nature here a little bit, no matter what culture you're from. The more we know about human nature, the better we will be at resolving conflicts. In general, human beings have certain characteristics that are very similar, even across gender, racial, and social economic lines. What about human nature? People love to be agreed with. You agree? Yeah. Simple. People hate to be disagreed with. Make sense? That's human nature. People like other people who agree with them. People dislike other people who disagree with them. People who are good at resolving conflicts look for some point of agreement and use good people skills to get others to see a different point of view. If you communicate right with people and stroke them the right way, figure out what they need to be stroked, you can get anything out of them. If you know how to stroke people. That's about 80% of your job. If you can get that people skill, they will do anything for you because they like you. All right? Be proactive instead of reactive. Good plans shape good decisions. That's why good planning helps to make elusive dreams come true. Be slow to anger, especially over petty issues. Anger is always more harmful than the insult that caused it. Instead of telling people they are wrong, point out mistakes indirectly. A person convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. You can force folks to see it your way and do it your way, but they haven't changed their minds. They have all kind of backbiting and they'll undermine everything you're trying to do. Look for some type of common ground as soon as possible. Compromise is the art of dividing a cake in such a way that everyone believes he has the biggest piece. If you find that you are in the wrong, admit it. It's easier to eat crow while it is still warm.
It is still warm.
Admit it right quick. Get it over with. You have to eat it anyway. When they get stale and old, it gets rough. Admit one of your own poor decisions before pointing out a similar error of others. A man should never be ashamed to own he has been in the wrong, which is but saying that he is wiser today than he was yesterday.
Yes. Growth.
Mend fences whenever possible. Never does the human soul appear so strong as when it foregoes revenge and dares forgive an injury. And defenses. Do's and don'ts of conflict resolution. Do stand approximately 4 feet away from the individual at a 45-degree angle. In other words, don't get in people's face when you're angry. It might take your face off.
That's right.
Stand about 4 feet away, not in front of him, on the side a little bit, and talk. hold your hands open